Yo, what's up? I'm QR Sinceri, and today we're going to be talking about the future of AI upskilling. Now, this is a big topic, and it's one that is near and dear to me, but every day I ask myself, what's the future? And I take detailed notes and I store them in a journal. For those that don't know, these notes are available at everydays.wtf. So I recommend you check it out because this video is a part of that package. There was a recent study from IBM that stated that 40% of the workforce will need to reskill as a result of implementing AI and automation over the next 3 years. That could translate to 1.4 billion of the 3.4 billion people in the global workforce. Now, that's a crazy stat. We're talking about 1.4 billion people needing to get upskilled and learn AI within the next 3 to 4 years. That's just insanity, right? Think about that many people learning how to integrate something that's changing all the time. That's what I want to talk about today. So I'm not the only person that's talking about this. You've got colleges and faculty, companies saying, hey, we can help you upskill. You've got knockoff and bootleg courses. You got AI coaches. You got the whole gamut. Like, it's AI hype mania right now. And reskilling in the age of AI is a very important topic, and a lot of people need help with it. So how do you go about it? That's what I want to ask. The rise of AI is not even something that anyone's really questioning. It's here. People are utilizing it in all shapes and forms, and we've covered that in everydays.wtf before. But one of the things that I want to talk about is how AI can open up more possibilities for their employees. In fact, 87% of executives surveyed believe that employees are more likely to be augmented than replaced by generative AI. And this is from that same IBM report. I'll link to it in my everyday's notes. But this is very, very enlightening in the sense that most executives are saying, hey, we're not going to fire our whole team. We just want to upskill them. And people have been emailing me asking, where can I learn about AI? Like, do I have to go back to college? Do I have to, learn all these tools? Like, some of this stuff is hard to keep up with. It's changing so rapidly. I was paying $14 for this tool, and another tool is $40 and it works. And I don't know which one to keep, which one to let go. I get it. That's a lot tactical, but as with anything, you want to build a pretty objective understanding. I'm happy to say that Stanford just released their new natural language understanding course alongside the code, all the lectures, all the handouts. It's open source, it's on YouTube, and trust me, it's really, really good. I'll make another everyday note about this. This deserves many notes, but if you want to understand natural language processing, machine learning, large language models, this is a great place to start because you're getting information from Stanford, and they're top tier. I mean, y'all know Stanford. I don't have to talk to you about Stanford. You already know. And it's free. You can audit the class for free. No, you're not going to get the degree, but the understanding and knowing how to implement this stuff and just being able to know when people are BSing you is a big deal. Now, one of the things that I want to make a point on is that we're super early in AI. Like, that Stanford course was the first of its kind, and it was just released 5 days ago. So we're not behind. Don't feel pressured. Just know that you can take your time, but you're ahead of the pack right now. If you're going and getting a deep understanding of AI from the people that understand it and have been teaching it for the last 10 years, you're going to be in good company. You're going to be in great company, actually. And it's better than some of the stuff that I'm seeing come downstream from, the LinkedIn seminars and all the little random email courses. Like, all the hustlers are in this stuff right now, and they might give you some good game, but building a deep, comprehensive, thorough understanding takes time, takes work. And I'd recommend checking out the Stanford course because if you spend some good time with that, there's going to be some things that change because we are early. But the understanding of where we've been and where we're going will pretty much be the same. So with that being said, there was a new blog that just came out from Alad Gill, and he talks about the early days of AI. What I loved most about this piece was really the entire piece was good, but there was one thing I loved most. It was this sentence here where it said that, Google's medical model outperforms human physicians to such a strong degree that having medical experts basically reinforce the model. So they would bring in the medical expert and the AI. and they tried the results out, and the results were actually worse. That's insane, y'all. That means the AI is good enough on its own, and we'll get to a point where it can be totally autonomous and independent. And we are in a really interesting future where that is true. And so you might be saying, well, Q, that's going to take forever. In Israel, they're already doing this. Like Tel Aviv, there's a big hospital out there that had serves 1.8 million patients per year. They've implemented Chat GPT like interface where you can go in and basically, as a pre-starting off point, like as soon as you get into the ER or to the hospital, they're gonna just give you a brief diagnostics, and if you can fill out the questionnaire, it will detail all that information and make it easier for the medical staff to perform medical operations that just can't be performed by AI systems, and can allow for the quality of the patient, the quality of care that the patients receive to be much greater. So I think that that's something to note, that that's happening already. But again, we're early. Just because it's happening in Tel Aviv doesn't mean that AI is taking over. And if you're a doctor, you've got to freak out. What I liked about Elad Gil's post the most, in addition to that point, was his whole notion of AI adoption curves. So he points out that there's four waves of AI adoption in his mind. And the first wave was the AI native companies. So you've got the generative AI companies like the OpenAI, their ChatGPT plugin. You've got Midjourney, which is a text to image generator tool, character AI, etc. And then you've got the early startup wave of like people that are coming in the industry. They're challenging incumbents in some cases, whether that be on search or whether that be on legal documents or whether that be other notions. And they're saying like, hey, we're going to challenge kind of the status quo, and we're going to focus deep on these big problems. And then you've got the fast mid-market incumbents that are in wave two. And this is where you see your favorite plugin or program integrating AI. And they're saying, well, we have generative AI too. Notion's doing it, Zapier's doing it, Grammarly's doing it. Heck, even Snap is really staying ahead of the generative AI curve because they're releasing new products and things just at a very rapid pace for a publicly traded company. So with that, what you're seeing is the next startup wave, and that's pending, and that's to be determined. That's going to be wave three. And then finally, after all the enterprise companies figure out, do they want to, build, buy, or figure out, how they want to enter the market, like, is it build or buy? They're then going to introduce the new wave of AI, which is going to be wave four. And Elad says it's going to take some time. Remember, this is super early. I know we talked about these four waves. I know we talked about all these things. Elad made a really good point. And the reason why I wanted to pull this chart up is because we are in the very early days of AI. This is the new timeline that he's referencing. He's basically saying AI, as most people talk about it today, started in June 2020. And people didn't really care about it until about June 2022, and at that point you start to see ChatGPT 3.5 start to, well, it wasn't even ChatGPT, it was GPT 3.5, which is a large language model in itself. That's released, and you start to get a little hoopla. You get DALL-E and all those things that come out around that same time. You get Midjourney, the beta. You get Stable Diffusion, and then, as we all know, in November of 2022, you get ChatGPT. And in the last 8 months, things have been crazy. So just remember, this is the very early days of AI. We're not even a year out from ChatGPT, and that's been the thing that's turned the world to AI. My takeaway is simple. You need to start learning this stuff now. The thing that the AI doesn't know is the specific domain expertise to your job, to your profession, to your industry, to the environment that you're in. And what I mean by that is I can train a large language model on a plethora of things. I can give it data, I can give it inputs, and I can go and mess with the code all I want. But what I can't get just yet is the workflows, or how to integrate the workflows. Remember, we've got 1.4 billion workers that need to be upskilled or trained or need to learn how to work in addition to AI. And with that, there's going to be some soft skills that humans possess that the AI just won't be able to catch up to in the time frame that's necessary. But you're going to have a little bit of an edge. You can't be afraid by some of these terms. If the acronym LLM scares you, you got to get to a point where that's not going to be true. And if you can do that, I truly believe you're going to probably be at the top percentile of the pay grade at your company, because the you're going to help level up the entire organization. The people that understand AI right now and will be ahead of that curve for the next 3 to 4 waves to come, you're going to be invaluable. That's literally what it is. And so it might sound like, oh, Q, I don't want to like learn how to program. Guess what? You don't have to be a programmer to understand it. You just need to understand how to talk to programmers. The common language that exists right now is these AI models. What is a pre-trained data set versus a large language model or an untrained data set? What does it mean to pre-train a data set? You need to be able to actually understand that and understand why you might not want a trained data set for your organization. Or maybe you do want to specify some things. Do you want to train it with a third party, or do you want to train it in house? Like, there's certain things where if you can just put the Legos together and you can move on your own, you're going to make that whole organization level up and much quicker, and you're going to be invaluable. And with that, it's not hard to do. Like, all this stuff is relatively new. Stanford realizes that, and they don't even want to hold the course and the curriculum behind their grailed walls, because they're saying, hey, you know what, let's open the doors, let's let more innovative minds that might not be able to attend classes here in the next few semesters, we're going to just put it online, so anyone that really wants to find it can find it. As of the time of I'm making this video, I estimate that 2,000 people have watched the actual courses, and I'm overestimating a bit because I just calculated, the average of the views. And on most of the videos on that page that I was looking at, they had less than 800 views. That's a pretty big deal. That means less than 800 people are really tuning into this thing and saying that they want to have a thorough understanding. I think AI is one of those things where, because we don't fully understand all of the outputs or how it gets to all of the outputs, I think you might want to have a bit of a comprehensive understanding here and have a little bit additional depth that you would have than you would like your standard programming language. And heck, at the end of the day, the stuff uses English. Like, this is not, a new syntax that you have to learn like Python or JavaScript. So my takeaway is, like, go consume anything and everything. If you like to read books, that's fine too. There's a lot of papers that are being published on this. If you like to watch videos, go on YouTube, type in some of the 34 AI innovators that I've linked to in the Everyday's note, and research them, watch their talks, understand how the problems that they're trying to solve and how that impacts not only their industry, but your industry. And with that being said, every day I ask myself, what's the future? And I take detailed notes and store them in a journal. You can view that journal over at everydays.wtf. I recommend you check it out if you're looking at becoming a future thinker or thinking about, what's next in your career and you just need some ideas. I'm always looking at different markets, trends, and emerging technologies that are going to have an immediate impact on our everyday lives. So with that being said, I will catch you in the future. And thanks again for tuning in.